Before we begin, a quick note. This video is strictly for educational purposes and is not financial or investment advice. When we think about two computers talking to each other, we usually picture something like an instant message, an invisible, abstract exchange of data. But in reality, it's much more physical. At the most basic level, one computer chip talks to another by pushing rapid pulses of electricity down a tiny copper wire. This creates a major physical problem. Picture a person standing at one end of a long hallway shouting a complicated sentence to you. Up close, you hear every word. But 30 meters down that corridor, the sound bounces off the walls and loses its energy. What reaches you is a muffled, garbled echo. You might catch a few sounds, but you wouldn't trust it to plan your day. High-speed electrical signals do the exact same thing. As they race down a copper wire, the metal absorbs their energy, and neighboring wires cause interference. After just a few inches, that crisp data signal turns into a distorted mess. This is the hidden crisis inside AI data centers. To work, they need tens of thousands of chips to communicate perfectly across a room so they can act as a single giant brain. But if those electrical pulses fizzle and die before they even leave the circuit board, the entire system stops working. If the signal dies, the AI revolution physically stops. Astera Labs exists to bridge that gap. They build the specialized plumbing that catches those dying signals and brings them back to life. The industry tried to fix this with a simple tool called a redriver. Going back to our hallway, a redriver is basically a megaphone bolted to the wall. It takes whatever sound reaches it and makes it louder. The problem is that it makes the echoes and the background noise louder too. You get a louder shout, but it's still just as garbled. Astera's main product is much smarter. It's a chip called a Retimer. Instead of a megaphone, imagine putting a person in the middle of that hallway. They listen to the garbled shout, reconstruct exactly what the original sentence was, and then shout a perfect, brand new copy down the rest of the hall. Because it rebuilds the message from scratch, this chip effectively doubles how far the signal can travel, without bringing any of the old noise along for the ride. This creates an interesting business dynamic. Every time AI chips get faster, the signals become even more fragile and fall apart even sooner. As technology progresses, data centers are forced to buy more of these retimers for every server, and they have to pay more for the advanced versions required to handle the speed. To understand where these chips live, picture the entire AI data center as a sprawling city. One part of this city is like a network of long highways connecting different neighborhoods. Because the distance is so great, copper wires can't reach. Instead, these long-distance links use fiber optics, which carry data using pulses of light. But there is another part of the city, a single massive skyscraper where thousands of chips are packed into one room. They are so close together that they can use short copper wires to talk to each other almost instantly. This skyscraper is the heart of the operation. It's where the chips are stitched together to form the AI's actual superbrain, and it's where most of the data traffic happens. Astera designs the critical parts that keep this skyscraper connected, but they don't actually own any factories. They engineer the chips and then pay outside specialists to manufacture them. This keeps their costs low and their profit margins around 75%, a level of profitability usually seen in software companies, even though they sell a physical product. By focusing on the physical limits of copper, Astera has secured its position as the primary plumber for the AI data center's most valuable part. Right now, there is a struggle over who controls the wiring inside that skyscraper. NVIDIA currently dominates this space with its own private connection system called NVLink. If you want the fastest possible speeds between NVIDIA chips, you have to use their closed proprietary highways. But the giants who buy these chips, companies like Amazon, Google, and Meta, don't want to be locked into a single supplier. They are funding a public open alternative called UALink. They want a common standard so they can buy chips from different sources and regain control over their own costs. Astera Labs is playing both sides of this conflict. They help design the open standards for the tech giants, and they are also official partners with NVIDIA. They are building the connection tools for both systems at the same time. This means that no matter which connection standard eventually wins, Astera provides the physical components required to make the network run. There are, however, real risks to this model. The first is that Astera's customers are some of the wealthiest companies on Earth. Eventually, these giants could decide to save money by designing this plumbing themselves in-house. To prevent that, Astera includes free management software with their chips. This software acts as a control center that watches the health of every link in the server. Because this software is deeply integrated into how the data center runs, it makes it very difficult for a customer to switch to a competitor's hardware. There is also the long-term physics risk. If the industry eventually finds a way to replace all short-distance copper wires with light and fiber optics, Astera's main business would need to change entirely. Finally, because they sell physical hardware, their success is tied to the volume of AI servers being built. If the world stops buying new AI hardware, Astera's revenue drops instantly. Ultimately, while the world watches the breakthroughs in AI software, those breakthroughs cannot exist without the physical wiring that carries the data. Astera has built its business on the fact that no matter how smart the AI becomes, it still needs the plumbing to work.